Hey guys! In today's video, we'll be looking at 5 best track saws. That will totally amaze you. Don't skip it, watch all the way to the end. So let's get started. Number 5. Festool TS55 FEQ-F track saw. Color: black, light green, silver, white. Weight: 22.8 pounds. Category: plunge cut track saw. If you're looking for a track saw that focuses on precision, the Festool TS55 FEQ-F plus FS is one of those tools that immediately feels designed for serious woodworking. The first thing that stands out is how clean and controlled the cuts are, especially when paired with the included 55-inch guide rail. What I like most is that the saw is built around accuracy rather than brute force. The plunge mechanism feels smooth, and the guide rail helps keep long cuts straight without much effort. The attachable splinter guard is genuinely useful because it helps reduce tear out on both sides of the cut, which can save time on finish work. Another practical feature is that the cutting edge stays consistent even when making bevel cuts between 90 and 47 degrees. That makes repeatable angled cuts much easier, especially for cabinetry or furniture projects. The riving knife is also a nice safety feature and helps with positioning in existing cuts. On the downside, this is not a lightweight saw, and the price is definitely aimed at professionals or dedicated hobbyists. It also works best as part of the Festool track saw system, so some users may not take full advantage of its accessory ecosystem. Overall, this seems like a solid choice for woodworkers who value precision, clean cuts, and a well-designed track saw system. Number 4. Evolution R185 CCSX Track Saw Kit. Color: multicolor. Weight: 18.1 pounds. Category: multi-material circular track saw. One thing that makes the Evolution R185 CCSX different from a typical track saw is that it's designed to cut multiple materials without constantly swapping blades. That can be a real time saver if your projects involve wood, plastic, and metal in the same workspace. The saw feels powerful thanks to its 15-amp motor, and it has enough cutting capacity for many common workshop and job site tasks. The included 40-inch track is useful for making straighter, more controlled cuts than you'd usually get with a standard circular saw. I also like that the saw has a 0 to 45-degree bevel range, which adds flexibility for angled cuts. In everyday use, the soft grip handles make it comfortable to hold, and the dust extraction port is a practical feature if you're trying to keep the work area cleaner. The included TCT blade is another advantage because you can get started right away without needing extra accessories. That said, this isn't the lightest saw in its class, and the included track is shorter than some premium track saw systems. If you regularly cut large sheet goods, you may eventually want a longer track for easier handling. Overall, the Evolution R185 CCSX seems like a solid choice for DIY users, renovators, and general contractors who want a versatile track saw that can handle different materials with a single blade setup. Number 3. Makita SP6000J1 Track Saw Kit. Color: teal. Weight: 16.5 pounds. Category: plunge circular track saw. The Makita SP6000J1 is one of those track saws that feels built for precision from the moment you start using it. It's designed primarily for clean, accurate cuts in wood, and the included 55-inch guide rail makes a noticeable difference when working with plywood, cabinetry panels, or other large sheet materials. One feature that really stands out is the variable speed control. Being able to adjust the blade speed helps when working with different wood types, and the electronic speed control keeps the saw cutting smoothly even when the material starts to push back a little. The plunge action also feels controlled and predictable, which is especially useful for interior cuts. The bevel range from -1 to 48 degrees adds flexibility for angled cuts, and the positive stops at common angles make setup quicker. I also like that the saw is relatively manageable in weight for a corded track saw, so it doesn't feel overly cumbersome during longer projects. The biggest limitation is that this is a corded tool, so you'll need to manage the power cord while using the guide rail. It's also an investment compared with basic circular saws, and it's really aimed at users who will benefit from its accuracy and finish quality. Overall, the Makita SP6000J1 seems like a solid choice for woodworkers, cabinet builders, and serious DIY users who want precise, splinter-free cuts and a reliable plunge saw system. Number 2. Makita XPS-01 PTJ Cordless Track Saw. Color, multicolor. Weight, 27.6 pounds. Category, Cordless Plunge Circular Saw. One of the biggest advantages of the Makita XPS-01 PTJ is that it gives you the precision of a plunge saw without the constant hassle of a power cord. If you're working in a shop with large panels or moving around a job site, that cordless setup is the feature you notice first. The saw is powered by Makita's dual 18V battery system, and it feels surprisingly capable for a cordless track-style saw. The brushless motor provides smooth cutting performance, and the variable speed control is useful when switching between different wood materials. I also like the automatic speed change feature, which adjusts power during the cut so the saw doesn't feel like it's struggling under load. For woodworking and cabinet work, the plunge action feels controlled, and the close-to-the-wall cutting capability adds flexibility for trim and built-in projects. The included case, batteries, and dual-port charger make this feel like a complete professional kit. The main drawback is the weight. With 2 batteries installed, it becomes noticeably heavier than many corded plunge saws. Another important point is that the guide rail is sold separately, so you'll need to factor that into the total cost if you want the full track saw experience. Overall, the Makita XPS-01 PTJ seems like a great option for professionals and serious woodworkers who want cordless freedom, precise plunge cutting, and the convenience of the Makita LXD battery platform. Number 1. Bosch GKT13-225L Track Saw. Color, black. Weight, 10.2 pounds. Category, Precision Plunge Track Saw. The Bosch GKT13-225L is a track saw that puts a lot of emphasis on accuracy and clean cutting, and that's immediately noticeable when working with plywood, MDF, or other sheet goods. The plunge action feels smooth and controlled, which makes it easy to start cuts exactly where you want them. One of the things I like most is how lightweight this saw feels compared with many other plunge saws. At just over 10 pounds, it's easier to maneuver during long cutting sessions, especially when making repeated cuts across large panels. The plunge mechanism also allows for accurate depth control, which is useful for cabinetry, trim work, and detailed woodworking. Bosch includes constant electronics to help maintain blade speed under load, so the saw feels more consistent when cutting denser materials. The overload protection is another practical feature that helps protect the motor during demanding work. If you connect it to a vacuum, the dust extraction system can make a noticeable difference in keeping the workspace cleaner, and the swiveling hose port helps keep the hose from getting in the way. The main limitation is that the guide rail is sold separately, so this package doesn't include the full track system out of the box. It's also primarily designed for wood and wood-based materials rather than multi-material cutting. Overall, the Bosch GKT13-225L seems like a solid choice for woodworkers and cabinet builders who want a lightweight, precise plunge saw with excellent control and clean cutting performance.